Okay, let's move on to our teach backs. Again, we'll do this in the same format, give you guys a chance to present, and it's very difficult here, of course, because it's just audio, and you have at your disposal your voice inflection and your words. But what we're doing here is we're trying to understand the material and learn how the material is put together. In St. Louis, we'll work more on the how we present. We'd like to ask you to keep it within 5 minutes, and we'll give you a chance to present, and then we will ask the question, what did you like? What would you like to see different? And we'll move on to the next teach back person. So we've got 4 people that are prepared, I hope. Morgan, are you the first teach back person?
I am.
Are you teaching learning objectives?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will turn the floor to you. And Sarah, what I would like to do is just close my video cam during the presentation to give the participants the ability to give their attention to Morgan.
That's great, Larry.
Go ahead.
Okay, yesterday we talked about the communication cycle and our vital need to connect and how we do that through communication. We learned that step 3 in the communication cycle, we use our verbal, our words, our tone, and our nonverbal communication skills to send a message. And we learned that nonverbal is the most accurate message we send. So since it's the most accurate, it's very important. And today we're going to delve into that further. Lisa, can you please read the 3 bullets on our learning objectives?
Consider the impact their nonverbal communication has on others. Enhance their communication by leveraging their nonverbal communication skills with others. Adopt the I am the message motto in their life and leadership.
Thank you, Lisa. That was great. So let's talk about those objectives. The first one was about impact. I think we're all really aware of the impact that nonverbal communication has, but I think we think of it more in negative terms. Like when we're having a conversation with our teenager and they roll their eyes at us, and that completely derails the conversation. But it can really have a positive impact on our communications. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about specific ways that we can improve our non-behavior communications and make sure that it's in alignment with the message that we're trying to send. So what is the motto of our class?
I am the message.
That's right. And again, we're going to make sure that those nonverbal behaviors are in alignment so that it is that it's all coming together, that we have our big bucket of skills that we're going to utilize. And if we utilize those skills that we're going to learn in this module, when we talk, it's going to be really important when we get to conflict, because it'll make sure that it's really effective and we'll be able to give a positive message during that conflict. And that's it.
Great. Thank you, Morgan. Applause, applause, applause. Take just a second and kind of think back on how it went while you were presenting and give us an idea of what you liked about what you presented here.
Okay, I liked that I tied in what we did yesterday. I thought that my start was really strong and that I was refreshing all of us on what we learned and how that is going into what we're going to learn today. I didn't like my end. For some reason, I got more nervous at the end. I thought I would be more nervous at the beginning. And so I kind of got off track there. And I don't think my end was very strong.
Okay. Is there something about your end you would like to change?
Well, I kind of repeated myself there at the end because I just got off track with my thoughts. I mean, I think I was going in the right direction with it. I don't know. I was just nervous.
Join the club. Yes. Okay. Well, I think when I listened to you, what I heard was a great bridge building between this module and the other modules, and I think that's very important as you introduce the next module, is that you give adult learners the context and help them understand where they are in the map. You did a great job of framing what we're going to talk about in the next hour or two with nonverbals, and gave people a heads up of what we were doing. I think you demonstrated a very solid understanding of the module and why we're doing it. And that just kind of came through in your mannerisms and confidence. That's what I saw. And I'm going to give Marcia a chance to respond as well if she has some comments. One thing I would note about allowing people to read the learning objectives, we certainly want to read them word for word, just like it was done. But when you give someone else the reading of those, you are also giving them the control of voice inflection and everything that goes with that. So, you know, I wouldn't say not to do that, but I would ask that you be mindful of what you're giving up, what control you're giving up when you ask someone else to read. So,
Okay.
but great job. You want to respond to that?
No, I hadn't thought of that. I didn't see that. I mean, I saw in the thing that it said read these, but I didn't think about the importance of who read those, and I think that that's helpful.
Right.
Yeah,
we definitely want to bring the class in. Marcia, I think you've got some comments. Please continue.
Yeah, Morgan, I love your style. I think Larry was speaking to that as well. This is a fun module, and so we don't have to enter the learning objectives as if we're going to, you know, be teaching nuclear physics, and you didn't. I think it's important for all of us to realize our tone, we're modeling. So it's really, really important to be aware of that, and again, make the choices that we've been talking about. Agree with Larry in terms of the learning objectives. If you have someone read them, then you're going to go back and read each one yourself, because we're going to ask you to emphasize that verb. Consider the impact their nonverbal communication has on others. That verb is really important, because that is the level of learning we're hoping to achieve. We're not going to get people to immediately change what they're doing, but we really want them to consider, to think about, to realize there's an impact. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'll say that to all of you when you teach a slide on learning objectives, and we're going to go into this. We'll have about a 45-minute teaching chunk at facilitator training. You can have someone read them, and it might be a good idea, just as Morgan did, to include and engage the group, because she might call on me next. But you want to read them again yourself. Add that movie trailer. Emphasize that verb, because this is telling us where we're going. What are we going to be doing in the next hour, hour and a half? So other than that, I thought it was really great. I thought you did get a little, a little bit ragged at the end. As you said, you're a little nervous. And I think it's funny. I'm very similar, Morgan. I'm really prepared at the first part, at the beginning for whatever reason. And then how am I going to move? Sometimes I'm a little less certain, and that comes across. So one thing, when you're doing these teachbacks, you only have one slide. And so it's a little difficult to really say, how am I going to conclude this? So think about that. And I think you'll be fabulous. I really do. It was really great. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to learn as we listen to you teach.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for all the comments. It's really sweet.
Good group. Okay. Whew. Take a breath. You're done.
Let's hear from John. John, are you prepared to speak to the 5 interlace module slide? This might be. I'm gonna give a personal comment here. This might be challenging to speak to a slide with no words in this venue, but I think we've given it to the right guy. John, are you prepared to speak to this?
With that being said, Larry, I believe my slide was the mirror slide, or if it wasn't, that's the one I prepared for.
Oh, no,
So-
that's my name.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
intro.
the
other John.
You can use that intro on this one as well.
Okay, was it Lisa or Kara that was?
It was
Lisa,
Lisa.
all right. Lisa, would you speak to this slide? Tell us what's going on here.
Hold on, she has to stop having a heart attack first.
I got really nervous for a
You're going to
minute.
teach your mirror with no preparation.
My apologies for
No,
getting
you're
these
fine.
mixed
It's our bad. It's our bad. Sorry.
So
We just had the order wrong.
what I'd like to go over here is where we've been, where we're going to be today, and where we're going to be going in the future. We've covered the communication profile, which got us familiar with the DISC profile and all the different types of profile types that are out there. It got us very in tune with our own profile type in our behavioral tendencies, and it showed us what to look for in others when we're communicating, so that we know when we're communicating how to gear things and if we need to flex or not flex when speaking with people. We then flowed right into the communication cycle, where again, we would not be able to communicate clearly and as well if we weren't familiar and comfortable with the DISC profiles of all the behavior tendencies. Morgan, could you tell everybody what the communication cycle steps are?
Yes. Step 1 is I seek to connect. Step 2 is I build a message. Step 3 is I send a message. Step 4 is others receive our message. Step 5, others decode our message. Step 6 is other builds a response. And step 7 is others send a response.
Thank you, Morgan. So all of those things, without that first step of that communication profile, would not work as well. They would not become clear cut and help us to get that message out there and ensure that it's received and that they can reply properly. So that's how those first two really interlace with each other. And then we're going to be today working on nonverbal communication. And in nonverbal communication, you really need to think about all of your gestures, your postures, your tone of voice. Everything plays into making sure that your message comes out correctly. If your tone of voice is not upbeat, but the message you're giving is supposed to be upbeat, then you're not going to be aligned. You're not going to get the correct message across to everybody. So you always need to remember that all of it plays together, and always fall back to your communication profile when you're using your communication cycle steps and communicating. And remember that you are a message to others because I am the message. And that's something we really need to remember is I am the message. And from here, we're going to go into reflective listening. And you'll see on the screen the big fishing net. That net is going to be used to capture the message that somebody's sending in all the little holes where little bits of the message might get lost, but for the most part, you're going to retain that message. And we're going to get more into that module in a little bit. The next one is the effective confrontation module, and that's going to be covering, are you the bat or are you the bended knee, which basically means, are you going to be building resentment or building trust? And again, we're going to get into that module much more later on in the course. The final one will be the transition module. What you're going to find by the time we get to the transition module is that all the other modules are going to make more sense to you. They're all going to come together. You're going to have a lot of aha moments because you're going to realize that when you were learning the profile, communication profile, and the reflective listening, you're going to see how they tie together. You're going to see how they all tie together and to make you be a much better communicator. And you're going to be able to tie them all up with a big red bow and say, I am the message and I know how to communicate.
Great. Lisa, thank you for plowing through your vocal challenge there. You are not uncomfortable to listen to. That's contrary to what that other person told you. You did great, and I could listen to that voice all day. It would be no problem.
Oh, thank you.
What I heard you do is an excellent job of building a path for the participants to be able to walk into this one and know where they're at. You did a great job of review, and you introduced this module with the T-shirt and kind of brought that all back. What you did for me is you demonstrated that you know the course structure, and it was a great exercise to go through. It's possible in the moment, and we do this all the time as facilitators. We have way more in our brain than we always speak. When you actually present this, you might trim that down a bit, but the fact that you know it all and that you presented it all was a great experience, and it really demonstrated that you know the context. So thank you for that. Great job. Your vocal variety, even in your challenge, was terrific. And I'll let Marcia speak if she has some thoughts.
Yeah, I agree, Morgan. Thank you. Thank you for really putting some meat on what is often a quick rush through slide. When you start teaching, you're going to find yourself wanting to get to the next thing because there's so much that's in your head. To that point, as Larry mentioned, all of you guys, be careful not to teach ahead. Don't use phrases like the bat and the bent knee. They don't know what that is yet.
Good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's so natural because, again, you know this. They have no idea. This is the curse of knowledge, right? You're going to know a whole lot, and you see that the big, powerful stuff is coming. They don't know that yet. They don't know about it yet. So we're wanting to just show on our journey to our, as David likes to say, our main courses of listening and confrontation. This is an appetizer. We're going to give you just enough nonverbal information to prepare you to listen and confront. And that's about all you need to say about that. So I think as Gary mentioned, this is the fourth time they've seen this slide. So that means that it's intentionally there for purposes of, I think, as Lindsay said, GPS navigation and also repetition. We want them to realize the journey that we're on. We're moving toward that ability to connect in challenging places. So I thought you did a wonderful job. And again, I agree with Larry. I could listen to you all day. So thank you. Thank you for the obvious work and clear mastery of the information in the training. You'll find that as you know a lot, it's going to be hard not to just want to tell everybody everything all the time. But we parse it out so that folks can learn with us, right? And I'll tell you the truth from my perspective, every time I teach, I learn more. I think it's kind of like Gary's thing with the, you teach best what you most need to learn. And that every time you're teaching, you're just reminding yourself and others of what you already know. That nothing's more true than that in this. So thank you, Morgan, very much. Nice job. Or Lisa, I'm sorry, Lisa.
It's fine. Thank you so much.
I have to apologize. I did not give you a chance to respond with what you liked and what you would like to change. May I give you that moment now, if your voice is still working and if you would like to respond to that question?
What I liked about it was even when I was practicing myself, I liked my ending. My transition section was my favorite. I think I need work on my communication cycle when I'm speaking to that. I felt kind of bumpy in it and not sure I was coming across clear.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Could I share? I mean, I think that's a fair point. If you can think, first we understand that all behavior is an expression of a need in the communication profile module, and that people communicate both sending and receiving based on different needs. And the communication cycle teaches us to step back and design our communication, craft it so that folks can hear it and prepare ourselves to hear them. Now we're going to deep dive into sending with our body and with the way we use our voice, and then receiving. And that receiving is going to take all of today. That's how I kind of approach that. Because again, this is a positional slide that reminds us where we are, where we're going, and why. So, you'll find your way. That's my way. I thought your way was good. I enjoyed it. I loved you having the person speak to what those, tell us what the steps are. It was nice engaging the class. So there's not a right way. There's your way.
Okay.
This is Jules hopping for the time check. We're a few minutes into borrowing into the next section's time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'll shut up.
Let's take a look at the mirror. I believe it was Jules that talked about brutal honesty on this one. And I'm not going to guess which participant had selected this, whether, is it John or Cara?
I have that one. It's John.
All right. Okay. John, tell us about mirror, mirror on the wall. What's this all about?
Okay. I'm going to ask for a little participation in here somewhere. So, mirror, mirror on the wall. Now, is this mirror giving this individual an accurate portrayal of themselves? Anyone?
No.
No, it's not. He may be seeing someone he wants to be. He may be seeing someone he once was. What happens to our message when others see us differently than we see ourselves? Anyone?
Yeah, lack authenticity.
Okay. Anything else?
It gets lost in translation.
It can be distorted, right? We don't get the true message across. So what we need is, as opposed to what we see here in the slide, is we need an accurate image of ourselves, or the right mirror. What can that right mirror be? Well, that right mirror can actually be a mirror. We can rehearse a speech in front of a mirror to see what our body language looks like, what our facial expression looks like. We can also find someone that is, an honest sounding board, and have them comment on how we come across as a presenter. How we come across in just day-to-day office life or home life. How are we perceived? Now, a couple things when choosing that person, we want to pick someone that will be honest and not just a yes man. And we also have to be prepared to not retaliate against that person if they tell us something we don't want to hear. Now, these things are great if we are maybe preparing for something ahead of time. But what about when we're caught in the moment, when we're in the middle of an interaction with someone? Okay, what could we use as a mirror in those instances? Well, if we harken back to the Seinfeld slide we saw a little while ago, we can use reactions of the folks that we are communicating with or delivering our message to. For example, when Aaron invaded Mr. Seinfeld's personal space, what did Mr. Seinfeld do? He took a step back. Now, that step back was lost on Aaron, but as we need to continually be aware, self-aware, we should take that someone stepping back as us invading their personal space. Another situation, we may be sitting with someone and communicating what we believe is a completely neutral message. Now, if that individual all of a sudden starts to furrow their eyebrows and cross their arms, they're obviously not perceiving it as a neutral message. They're getting defensive or possibly getting upset. We have to take that and act on it and adjust accordingly. That is another mirror, quote unquote, we can utilize. So throughout this course, we've been talking about the importance of alignment. both in our nonverbal and verbal communications, the message we're sending there, the importance of alignment within the 4 elements of nonverbal communication. Well, that alignment is equally important here. In order to deliver an effective message and be that message, our perception of ourselves has to align with how we're perceived by others. That's all I got.
Thank you, Dan. All right. As you did that, there might be some things you appreciated about what you did and it felt good. What are some things about it that you like?
I liked, I think I got a few examples in there that I was happy with. The ones that, you know, one of the preceding slide ones, you know, the film clip. Well, we didn't see it today, but obviously the film clip that's included in there. And just getting the, talking about alignment again and reinforcing that.
Anything you'd like to change?
It was choppy a bit.
Okay.
And what I didn't mention a couple of the key points in the that go with this slide. The fact that, you know, sometimes we do see ourselves as, you know, well, like in the photo, maybe an overinflated sense of self, but also sometimes a self-deprecating sense of self. I think that's probably what was important enough to mention in there, and it just didn't.
Okay. Thank you. What I heard was some really, really good practical examples of how we can respond to this situation if we have arrived at this honest realization that what we think we're sending is maybe not what people are hearing. And so what you did in your presentation is you helped us walk through what we can do about it. And I think that's going to be very, very helpful in the class. And I think it would be a great dialogue for the class. It's very difficult as a teach back person to take one slide and really have the context. But the intent of this slide is to really help people grasp the gravity, this, oh my goodness, that's true. What I think is happening is not happening. And as you facilitated this, you did what one would want to do after people realize that. And the other thing that you can consider is how would you get people to that point, that realization of, oh my goodness. So that's what I heard. What your practical thoughts and ways to accommodate this situation that we're in were excellent. I think a lot of those will come out of the group. I would probably concur with some of the things that you said about yourself, and that will come with experience. You're going to have no problem with this slide. And I enjoyed what you had to talk about. So let me turn it over to Marcia if she has a comment or two.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really liked that you included the audience and asked them, you know, that's such a great idea. I don't think we often do that. And I love the idea of what mirrors do we have? What is a mirror for us? And you brought us back to the Seinfeld and said, you know, that Aaron had a mirror, but he wasn't aware of it. He didn't see it. He didn't respond to it. That was really powerful. And I've never seen anyone do that before. I loved it. I really loved it because I think we make it very literal when we teach the slide. And so thank you. I learned from you. I agree with you and with Larry. I think you might infuse a little energy in different spots a little differently. Just use your voice a little differently. This is a reflection kind of concept. So it was good. You did a great job. Always be thinking, if I'm teaching nonverbal, what are my nonverbals? And am I using them in the way I intend? So great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you all
Thank
for your
you,
kind
John.
words.
There is a lot of work put into that slide. Thank you for putting that in. Every piece of energy that you put into learning that slide, I think will benefit you in class. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Agree.
Okay, we got one more. We're going to keep moving.
Do.
I am the
Tara.
message.
Okay, I'm ready, so I can go ahead and start if you are ready.
Yes, tell us about this slide.
Okay, so I want you all to really pay attention and really look at the words on the slide. My message is not just my words. My message is my words, my demeanor, my tone, and all the signals I send through my nonverbal communication. Not only do I send verbal messages to others, I am a message to others. In fact, I am the message. We as leaders, I think, forget sometimes that not only are we the message while we're at work and we're in our leadership role, but we are also leaders in our home life. We're leaders when we go to the grocery store and we're seen by our colleagues or our friends. We're leadership, in every aspect, but not only just are we leadership, but are we projecting the type of message that we want to communicate correctly. And I feel like that a lot of us need to either readdress on whether or not we're truly authentic and self-aware of what message we're projecting. Also, the fact that I feel like with this type of statement, we're kind of self-reflecting on the fact that we need to be a little bit more deliberate at what we're communicating on a regular basis. So though we can, be one way at work sometimes and one way on our personal life, one way with our friends, all of those communicate who we are as a whole. So every single day in every aspect that you are the message. What kind of message are you projecting? And if you're projecting different messages on different forums, that's not really, showing who you truly are. So what I would say for this particular slide, and especially since this is a very important slide, this is, something we've gone over already in our overview, and it truly really means something for this company to say, I am the message and this is what I'm projecting every day. But are you a do as I say person, or are you a do as I do person? A lot of times we say this to our children, do as I say, but not as I do. But truly, every single thing that we do or say builds who we are. And therefore, we can't say those types of things and expect them to be true. Because in reality, all of those verbal, nonverbal communicating skills that we, project on a regular basis builds who we are. That is the message of who we are. So what kind of message are you sending?
Great, great. Reflect just a moment and tell us what you liked about what you just did.
So I like the fact that this slide's very direct, that, the message, or I guess the words that need to be communicated are right there, that the emphasis is already there, and that it is really self-reflective, that it kind of takes a minute and says, like, to the person, are you actually authentic, or are you projecting something that maybe you want people to understand? And I think that's what I like so much about this entire course and the analysis, is that when we take that original test, we see what we think people see, and we see what people truly see. And I don't always think that everyone understands that the point that people truly see is kind of see-through, I should say.
Great, great. Well, anything you'd like to change?
I think that as all of us go through this course and become better and more knowledgeable, of course, we're going to be more comfortable with material. Just being more comfortable presenting and knowing what words, what analogies or where to pull from that gets the best response so that this really hits home. So I think that as much as I would like to change a million things today, I may have a different answer, once we're done with St. Louis, once 2 years go by. So right now, I think it's pretty direct.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Kara, you have a great self-awareness about this, and you're right, you're gonna always wanna change. I'll give you a couple brief comments of what I saw and then turn it over to Marcia. I heard you read this with meaning, and I really appreciate you doing that. We really need to put our total self into reading this message. If we read this with a monotone, non-lackadaisical voice, it really defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing here. So thank you for doing that. I like the way you connect it with leadership. We don't always do that with this particular slide. So I appreciate you making that connection for people and bringing that back. You used the word authentic, which I think is key. It's the essence of this slide. And another term I liked the way you used was more deliberate. Some people say intentional, but I like that more deliberate term because it's just friendly, but yet it's firm enough to drive home the point that we do need to be deliberate about how we say and what we say. And then you challenged the group. You kind of said, what are you projecting here? And so that's something that we weave into all this material. And on some slides, we may challenge more strongly than others of what they want to do with the information. And so you chose this one to pose that question. I think it was great. Great job. You have great vocal inflection. You're easy to listen to. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person in St. Louis. So thank you for all the effort you put into this. Marcia?
I love that, Larry. Perfect. This slide, this message, as you said, Kara, and again, the idea, it's direct. This is the whole point of the course. And if I don't get who the message is and that it's me and I can make choices and I am deciding who to be, who to lead, how to lead, they're going to miss the whole course. This is it. This is everything boiled down in one place. And critically and intentionally positioned to lead you then into listening. Who's the message? Me. I can choose to listen or choose not. So how you teach this slide's really important, and you did a wonderful job. The conviction in your voice, as Larry said. I believe you. I believe that it's important. This isn't a place to dance and sing. This is a place to talk directly, human to human. So nice job. You did all of that. I will say to all of you guys who are going to be teaching forward and are going to be doing teachbacks, of course, in St. Louis, when you have a teachback assignment, go into the slide deck, go into your book, and see what slide is before, what slide is after. Consider the context of what you're teaching. That will help you with your flow in and your flow out. And that's not directly to you, Kara, that's to everybody, because I would like to say that next Monday, Thursday, etc., we will be looking for how you do those segues. It's not just a slide in isolation. So consider that. I think that will make it more fun for you to teach. That's coming from someone who loves this stuff. So, but Kara, thank you very much. Beautiful job.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm going to make one comment about this slide, and then I'm going to turn it over to Marcia. I would encourage each of us to just have fun with this slide at home, in our bedroom, in front of the mirror, and think of all the different ways that you can use every aspect of your voice and nonverbals to say this slide. And just experiment with it at home and play with it. And this is a great exercise to help you build some dynamics in your presence if you would like to do that. Think about what this means, think about what it's saying, think about how it's impacted you, put that all in your head at home, in your bedroom, in front of your mirror, and practice different ways to just give this some life as you present it to other people.